Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, whenever you are viewing this live. We put Facebook on. Oh boy. Okay. So, how y'all doing? Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Woo! That's all I got. That's all the kid got. Oh my gosh. I got some good rest though. So I'm just coming back in town yesterday. I got some good rest. I could tell you after I went out in that heat. Let me put this on this side. Yesterday, so it was a lot of heat here in the New York area. You would think it was like that in North Carolina, but it was not. It was beautiful. It was beautiful. It was a lot of rain in the last days that we were there, but uh, we can actually put a sweater on, a little light sweater. Oh, that's beautiful. Um, so back to work. Back to work. Got a lot done in my head because the majority of the time that I spent with my family, that's what it was supposed to be, with my family. Nobody else. No work. But you know how it is. It's hard to I'm trying to get my little Emlyn in. It's hard to just cut things off like that, but I did. I did good. I did good. Even though I was asking a lot of questions about my hometown in North Carolina, about everything that's happening around the world, how is it affecting them? And yes, one thing for sure: when something happens in one part of the world, it is happening in all parts of the world. Don't think it's not, because it definitely is. And having a nonprofit in the nonprofit world, you have to really be focused all over. So I always said that I would just travel all over, make it a vacation working business with finding out how other nonprofits work in their towns, in their cities, in their states. And I'm also trying to get the groundwork done here where the actual nonprofit is started. The first place it started is in New York. I'm going to venture out. I'm going to have other areas have Lils for nonprofit seen as a homeless corps, of course. I'm definitely going to be able to do more collaborations. I'm going to be able to listen and learn. I always pay attention to the difference of a city and what they're doing. Always. I'm always observant, and I'm always able to put something along with what I'm doing, no matter what it is. No matter what it is. I'm actually a personal shopper also. So I buy things and I sell things. That that also is always under my belt, right? Um, so being a nonprofit leader and in the government realm of it, as having a 501c3, carrying an EIN number, you don't take for granted what you are offered in your city or what's offered for you and you pursue it. Don't take that for granted. That is not everywhere. And it's also more that you need to talk to your communities. I mean, physically talk to them, ask them their opinions, ask what their needs are. Don't just jump in and say, oh, your visual will tell you what they need. Your visual does not tell you what a community needs. Your talk, your relationship, your encounters with store owners, local politicians, um, the OGs in the community is who definitely know what has changed and what is needed. I can tell you that I'm an OG, always been. Even as a kid, I've been an OG. I always had an old soul, always paid attention, I always learned. I'm one of those who love to be educated, taught about new things. And at my age of 66 right now, it's even more. It's even more so. To me, when you start getting older in age, if you have not been physically fit, if you have not been eating right, taking your vitamins, walking, doing a workout, swimming, something, yes, it's going to take your body longer to do something. But your mind should always be sharp as a razor. Your mind has to carry you further than your physical, always. So you have to read books. Now I was on something I've just started um, and put under my belt that I'll talk about at a later time. But I was on one of the Zooms where they were talking about a new book and how it's, helping them along the ways of the business. And I agree. You must be a reader. You must pick up a book that takes you further from your environment, that takes you further from the level of education that you're at. You must write, you must journal, you must correlate how you want something to go further than the standard that you're in right now. Always push further. So I know that, right? I've seen that in several places that I've been around, from working in a hospital for over 30 something years, for being around working class people, from being around people who do not work, they do bring up their families in their homes, from being around people who are elected officials or in the political world, from being a shop steward alone in the union, and being one of the activists in the union for years and having people count on you and knowing their circumstance. It's the same now. Running a nonprofit is the same now. You have to be knowledgeable about what's happening in your zoning. You have to be more knowledgeable on what's happening for your financials, um, for districting, for the parks that your grandchildren, great grandchildren will play in, or will they have any parks? So, yeah, always stay knowledgeable about everything. Now, when I came home and needed the rest first, I also jumped up and wanted to go to get a T-shirt because I really can't find Little Sport Nonprofit Seniors and Homeless Corp T-shirt. I made like three, but I made them for me to just keep changing. And when I'm out there in the world, I just put it on. And I couldn't find them. So I went to I have three um, print shops that I go to. And one of them, when I went yesterday to get some lunch and went to the print shop, it was gone. It was gone. I was like, what? Now, they don't send out no blast to their customers because they took all emails and they was doing that. So you didn't sit out no emails saying that you're no longer around, where you going with. So I knew they had two locations right around the corner from each other. So I went to see if they was around there. Nope, gone. In that one, in this one year that I saw that they was progressing, they was doing some work. And there was another, when I went around the corner, there was another little It must have been this big and this wide of a storefront of a print shop that said, I'm printing shirts, I'm printing whatever you want on a shirt, plus they're doing pictures for passport, all of this stuff. I'm like, what the heck did they get there? So things are happening fast. That's what I'm getting to. I know if you are running a business and if you do not have that business on an email blast, how are people to know to keep up? Or you don't have a newsletter. How are people knowing that you are even in existence? If you are not on all the social media platforms, how is anyone to know that you are still current? So keep that going. I just asked one of the board members slash secretary to do an email blast for me. I wrote down all of our businesses that we affiliate with, which not they are businesses, but they're donors to the nonprofits. To do an email blast, of something that was created with our letterhead to tell them thank you and that we're still next, updates. Okay, we're still around. You have to do that, right? So remember remind yourself and remember that if the world is changing, everybody is changing. If all of your businesses or all of your activities or everything has to do, first of all, everything in this world, our democratic world, our democracy, having leadership in the White House, is meaning that some part of your life has something to do with it. You are a senior, you have Social Security, you have retired, you have pensions, equity in places with homes and water running through your pipelines. All of that is through government. Don't don't be non-knowledgeable. Okay, if that's such a word. Don't be non-knowledgeable. Be up on everything. Okay. Also, your libraries, your local stuff, your libraries, your daycares, your after school centers, your schools, your fire department, your police department. Be up on everything as we are in a 4-year plan, right? A lot of people say, I don't even be bothered with that. Now, when I say a lot of people, I mean it. A lot of people do say these things. I'm not gonna be bothered. I'm not voting. Ain't nothing gonna change. You know the negative things that people say until they don't understand that it is happening to them too. You can't just brush that off, right? Okay. Vote. You see how important it is now? You must vote. You must know your district and you must know who you can vote for that would get a change in your community. You must also be ready for changes that you can't handle on your own. And when I say that, I mean it. I mean it. There's people that are in your community that have to get Medicaid and Medicare to keep their illnesses under control, to be able to use certain doctors and hospitals and clinics and urgent cares and stuff like that, right? Pay attention if you're a community leader. And everybody's a community leader because you live in a community, you are the leader of it. The education part of 2025 to 2026, the school system, the teachers that are in your school system, where are they coming from? What is their knowledge of teaching your children? It could be schools that have the teachers that you grew up with. and your next in the generation before you grow up, and they're still there, and then maybe their grandchildren will teach you now. You better know who is teaching your children. You better know the history that is learnt in a school system. Talk to your children, your grandchildren, your great grandchildren, and see if you are getting a feedback that you would love for your generation to carry on. Because if you're not, it is up to you at home to do it. And this is when I'm talking to grandparents and great grandparents. Sit them children down with some homemade cornbread, a nice little bowl of soup, or a sandwich that they love, or the best grandma cookies or My grands love to be around me. Thank God. Because I'm going to feed them heads with stuff that I grew up with knowing. From them learning how, but it also get into their time now. Technology, even if you don't act like you know about some of the iPhones or the um, not needing a fax machine because everything is done and scanned on your phone. All that stuff. Sit those children down next to you. Ask your children's children to take you and let them come over to your place and let them bake a cake. That's what my grands used to love to do. They don't got too old for that. They used to love to see me in the kitchen baking a cake, right? Any little simple thing that you can think of to keep your generation in them and still, because remember, in these times right now, you cannot count on any one place having the history taught to your children or children's children. You do not have that. You we They barely keeping our museums going. They're barely keeping artifacts that we can take them to see that this is how, like 9/11 or Black History Museum or anything that's historical, that's representing your culture. And I'm talking to Black, brown, Hispanic. I'm talking to anybody who has a culture that can be diminished from outside of your home. So you have this, teach them in your homes. Okay, don't let it slip away because it's starting to happen. Um, Finances. As a nonprofit leader, I haven't had a grant. I never had a grant. I've never I've applied for one. That was for 2024 of our spending, and we should have gotten some notice or something for 2025 discretionary grant. I just sent my papers. I did my paperwork. Nothing. Nothing. So if you're not into or you're not knowledgeable, find people who are. Think about your old days, and I've said this on several of my webcam streams through YouTube. Think of the old days. Oh boy, I might not can't finish this because once they start with that horn beeping because somebody's blocking their way, they carry that on. But I'll go as far as I can. In your block, even if it's 2 to 3 houses, homes, have a day. Tuesdays, come out to the corner, on the corner, bring your chair and your table outside. Bring a writing pen and a blank paper, a little tablet notebook, and let's journal some things about what you know. Get this together in your community. I'm telling you, every community I have lived in, which this is the one I've lived in the longest, over 31 years. However long I've worked at my job, that's the time I started working at my job. this is when I started and I moved into where I reside. That's over 31 years, right? I've always been involved in the tenant associations, the community, wherever, from the community board, from the library to the anything where I can help my community, right? It's easy to do. From growing up in Harlem, we did this. We sat in our hallways on our floors and we played school. Well, me played school, taught the other children how to go inside a book and look up a word, diction in a dictionary and encyclopedias, and just read and write and read and write. Then I would go in my school from junior high school to high school. I was definitely into education, but it's to be taught to others. A lot of this now needs to be taught to seniors because they need to, they worked and worked and worked. Me too. Just worked and worked and worked and wasn't able to focus on giving their communities and their greats and grands enough education to keep going with. When those children get to junior high school and getting honors and all that, they can say up on those podiums, my grandma, my grandpa taught me so much at home. Okay? Do a lot of more of that. Travel around to other places, cities, and share this with others that need to be more community involvement. Not sit around and talk about your community, you know? Not say, oh my gosh, da 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 is doing this and doing. They ain't gonna never learn. They ain't gonna never. What about you? What about you telling them in the community, come to me, I'll sit you down and we'll learn how to read and write and journal and tell your story. How about you with your gossiping self? I gossip too. Everybody do. But put it towards teaching and sharing and building something, right? Also, also, if you see people that are sick in your community, your development, or if you see people who are in your reach in something that you've been going around. Maybe you go to a cleaners every day. Maybe you go to a shoemaker every day, which those two things are definitely not around enough, especially in the tri-state area. And you go to this area every 2 times a week or 1 times a week, and you see someone outside panhandling, or you see somebody outside that can use water or laying on the ground, or because they just unhoused with addictions and all of this, and just not taking care of themselves. Are you lending a little bottle of water, $1 or something? You don't know how much inside of you are going to be blessed, or your family, by just doing that. And everybody does not have to know, right? You don't have to publicize those things. Just do those things. Um, a lot more. I just wanted to get on here and talk, chat it up a bit, and get back to working inside my planner. Oh my gosh, this planner is so lovely. This planner has goals for the whole month, and you write out your whole month and daily things that you do. And today is the 14th. I already know that one of the liaisons, Melvina Hassel, and her community is having a book bag drive, back to school with Jackie Robinson. If you have any donations you want to give them, if you have any, like, go pick up a whole pack of paper or any, something that won't break the bank, but help. Go down to Jackie Robinson. They'd having a back to school giveaway. Now, my calendar for month of goal, month of August, I've started a new business. I put it under my belt. Bing, you'll know about that later. But with the nonprofit, I already have my back to school giveaway date, when I'm supposed to actually contact the people who said they're going to donate. I already did that. Shout out email real quick. As soon as I got back, one of the advisory board members, Ayalette, she's having an event, and I'm going to give um, food and stuff, fresh food and stuff to their organization, to have their event. I already donated on to my mentor, Robert McCullough Senior's church. They had an event last week, and I surprised them and just brought over some big bags of onions, big bags of potatoes, as I already had. I was doing a giveaway, and they were so thankful. Um, the family day already happened with through the Each One Teach One program. That's a nonprofit that I'm involved with as a liaison. We had family day. I was on hot dogs and hamburgers and juices. we burnt we burnt a lot of stuff. Not a lot of stuff. We burnt some of the stuff because our grill was so hot. It was piping hot. It was, oh my gosh. The grill person, not the grill person, the person who started the fire, I'm gonna find him every time. He started that fire, and we had the best flames going. Wow, it took forever to get it out too, but we had our family there, and the children were so good and so grateful to see that they had hot dogs, hamburgers, juices, and everything through the National Eat One Teach One organization in Harlem. They set up a vehicle for over 57 years of having basketball in the lives of the inner city children. Keeping them off the street is vital, okay? And that's what they do. It also in the Eric Bowes um, tournament in Each One Teach One Park in Harlem. My brother-in-law, Flubby and Robin and Pep and Chester and Wayne and George Ball, and of course Robin McCullough Sr. is the executive of everything, made sure that another year successfully is happening in the honor and name of my significant other, Eric Bowes. So big ups. What? Nonprofits totally rock. Always have. So when I was in North Carolina, I went to my nephew's, BJ Benjamin Jerome Moore, and his young lady Keisha, which they started a nonprofit. Well, was already started. Well, I'm learning the history of it. Shackle Free, and they've been running a beautiful, beautiful 501c3. They have their own brick and mortar, which is a building that they have where they have computer teaching to older people or whoever wants to learn. They have clothes, they have food, they have COVID tests, they have all of that in their brick and mortar, right in North Carolina, of my hometown of Warsaw. It is beautiful. Plus other counties. They have in Jacksonville, they probably have in, I think, Sampson County, which is Clinton. They have over 5 areas that their name and that nonprofit is running through. It is so beautiful to see something like that going on other places. And that's what I want to do. I want to travel around as I start the podcast, have my little mic and interview other nonprofit leaders and put it right on the podcast, which I will be starting um, momentarily, to show other people, start a nonprofit, help your community, especially if you wanted them to say, Oh, please, ain't nothing happening in this town, in this borough. This is all, one of them complainers, right? If you one of them complainers, get up off your tush and do something about it. Every little thing helps, okay? All right. So that's it. That's it. Time to work. Time to work. My nonprofit work stuff back, being back from traveling and having a passing in our family and bringing me closer to my family and other communities. It just makes me just sit down and just chill and just be thankful and love on more people. Doesn't matter if I know them or not. Anyway, that's how I am. Doesn't matter if I know you or not. If you never met me, you're going to love me. Okay? All right. So let me get off of here. Thank you so much. Okay, I'm coming over there. Facebook.